Okay, so you want to be like super well informed, right? Like quickly and
Yeah,
completely.
who doesn't?
Exactly. And that's kind of our whole thing here on the Deep Dive. You give us this mountain of stuff, research and articles and interviews,
And we dig through it all right. We find the good stuff.
the gold nuggets.
Yeah.
And today we are going deep on Tsuyoshi Morioka.
Oh, yeah, this is a fascinating one.
He's kind of a legend in marketing, helped turn USJ around. And you guys sent us a bunch of stuff about him.
YouTube transcripts from MBS News. There's the TBS show Sunday's First Ear Learning, some stuff from Teletokyo BIZ.
His book, Career Advice.
A whole lot to unpack here.
So our mission today is to give you like the essential Morioka wisdom, the key marketing insights, career tips, actionable stuff you can use in your own life, but without like overwhelming you. We're not going to just like information dump on you.
Right, we're going to make it digestible. So looking at all this stuff on Morioka, it's really interesting how many of his ideas, they pop up again and again. Like you see them in different contexts, whether he's talking theme parks or personal growth.
It's like a consistent philosophy almost.
Yeah, and it makes you think like his success, it's not just some fluke.
Right.
There's like a real solid foundation there, like principles about people and strategy.
Totally. So let's start with just like, who is this guy, right? We know he left USJ about 3 years before that MBS News interview.
Which was March 2020.
Right, to start his own company called Katana.
Katana, that's a pretty cool name.
I know, right? It's like a samurai sword. And he's not subtle about it. He wants marketing to be a weapon for Japan.
A sharp one.
Yeah. And the name Katana, it also really emphasizes the idea that his team members, they've got these individual skills, they're honed.
Like a well-crafted sword.
Yeah, but when they come together, right, like that's when they become like this unstoppable force.
Powerful organization.
And he calls them wise generals. I love that.
Komedo, yeah, it suggests a lot of experience in strategic thinking. And I think there's a lesson there for everyone listening. Like, think about how you brand yourself. Your name, your title. Does it really reflect, like, your core purpose? The impact you want to make.
Right. And for Morioka, that purpose is really clear. He wants to use marketing to revitalize Japan.
Ambitious.
Big time. And he's walking the walk, too. He chose to work in a shared office space with his colleagues.
Really emphasizing that whole collaboration thing.
Yeah, it's not your typical, like, lone genius image, right? It's more about collective intelligence, like all these different perspectives coming together. And that can lead to some really cool stuff.
Stronger strategies, more innovation.
Okay, but here's the thing I really like about Morioka. He's not just this, like, super serious business guru.
Right, he's got that human side, too.
Yeah, we get these little glimpses. Like, he talks about this pastry shop he works, and he's obsessed with their cream puffs, and he says they, like, shake his soul. I mean, come on.
Got to respect that kind of passion, right?
And he's really open about his own struggles, like his weight gain in the past and how he's focused on health now.
It makes him relatable.
Totally. It's like he's not this perfect superhuman.
Right. He's faced challenges, just like all of us.
And I think those challenges, that's where his drive comes from, like tackling those things other people think are impossible.
Yeah, he thrives on that. Like at USJ, it was failing and people thought it was done for. The president asked Morioka to take it on, like fix this thing that everyone else thought was broken.
And he did. And it wasn't just about the business challenge.
No, there's a deeper level to it, right?
Yeah, he wants to see his region thrive, Kansai.
He doesn't want to see it decline.
So local pride is a big motivator for him. It's not just about, like, personal success or money.
It's about giving back to his community.
So how does he actually get things done? I was really struck by how he described the early stages of a project. Like, you have to be so focused.
Intense focus.
Yeah, he says you lose track of time. Like, the line between being awake and asleep, it kind of blurs.
You're just completely immersed in it.
Consumed.
And I think that makes sense, right? Like, when you're trying to solve a really complex problem, you have to go deep. Understand it from every angle.
So if you're listening to this and you're struggling with something, maybe that's the takeaway. Carve out that time to really get into it.
Yeah.
We also see this really proactive thinking when USJ was facing a cash flow problem.
Oh, right. What did he do? Free admission for kids.
Yeah, but he framed it so brilliantly. Let's energize Japan from Kansai.
So smart.
It wasn't just a discount.
No, it was a rallying cry.
Exactly. It brought in more visitors, but it also tapped into this, like, regional pride, even national spirit.
Turning a negative into a positive.
A PR win.
And it's something you can do too. Like if you're facing a challenge, think about how you can frame it, turn it into an opportunity.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing for him at USJ. He got a lot of pushback when he started bringing in, like, broader pop culture stuff.
Oh, right. Like Hello Kitty.
Monster Hunter, Attack on Titan.
moving away from just the movie stuff.
Yeah, he had this vision of USJ as like a select shop of popular brands.
But that didn't go over well with everyone, did it?
Not at first. Some people felt like it was an alien invasion.
Wow. Strong reaction.
I know, right? It was a big change from what they were used to. And that's a good lesson for anyone trying to innovate. You're going to face resistance.
Especially if you're challenging the status quo.
But Morioka, he didn't just like force it through. He knew he needed to build momentum.
Small wins.
Yeah, consistent ones.
Like stepping stones to the bigger stuff.
Right, like the wizarding world of Harry Potter. And he always gives credit to his team that kept things running smoothly during those big changes.
So it's a team effort.
Always. And then even after all the success at USJ, he decided to leave.
Why would he do that?
He wanted to make an even bigger impact.
Okay.
He started Katana to create a platform for developing talent, both experienced marketers and people new to the field. He really believes in people. Like, that's the core of it.
It's about building the future of marketing in Japan.
Exactly. And maybe this makes you think about your own long-term goals. Like, are you creating opportunities for yourself and for others?
Good question.
Now, his thoughts on IR, those integrated resorts with casinos for revitalizing Kansai, that's interesting.
Controversial, too.
For sure. But he sees it as necessary. He thinks Kansai needs to constantly innovate, take risks.
Or it'll decline.
He even says Kansai could decline significantly within 20 years if they don't do anything.
Wow. 20 years.
Yeah, he compares it to post-World War II Japan, rebuilding from scratch.
And how easy it is to take things for granted.
To get complacent.
Right.
But that's not Morioka's style. He's always looking ahead.
Always pushing forward.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Talk about some of those personal growth lessons from Sunday's first year learning.
All right.
He had this really fascinating point about how our brains are shaped by experience.
I'm listening.
He said there's a big difference between hard work leading to success and no effort leading to success.
Interesting. What's the difference?
Well, he thinks that if you succeed without really trying, it can actually be bad for you.
Really?
It can weaken your work ethic, like you don't develop that resilience.
Like you don't learn the value of struggle.
Exactly. So even if things are easy right now, embrace those challenges.
Yeah, push yourself.
And even reframes the idea of hard work leading to no immediate success. Like, that's not a failure.
It's a learning opportunity.
Exactly. It makes you more likely to succeed in the future, and he contrasts that with the fear of failure.
Which holds so many people back.
I know. He also had some really great advice for a student who was talking about parental pressure.
Oh yeah, a lot of people struggle with that.
Right. He said parents generally, they just want to share what they've learned. Help their kids avoid mistakes.
Offer guidance.
But ultimately, you have to choose your own path.
Find what works for you.
Yeah. And when it comes to habits, he sees them as actions that increase your chance of success.
Building those positive routines.
Yeah, and you got to train your brain consciously. Like, you're building mental pathways, making those successful actions automatic.
I like that. So what about you? What habits are you working on?
Good question. I'm trying to be more consistent with. Well, that's another episode.
Okay, fair enough.
But Morioka, he also had this interesting perspective on friendship. He's more about quality than quantity.
Yeah, a few close friends rather than a ton of acquaintances.
Yeah, and he really values what he calls comrades, people who share a common purpose.
Like your team, people you're working towards something with.
Exactly, because friends, they can sometimes get stuck in the past, reminiscing about old times.
And that can hold you back.
So true. And for anyone who's ever felt that lack of confidence before starting something new, Morioka's got this really reassuring message. He says confidence comes after you start, not before.
It's like you build confidence by doing.
Yeah, he says those feelings of doubt and anxiety, they're normal. And it can even be a sign of intelligence.
How so?
Because you're anticipating problems, but you got to balance that with courage.
The courage to try.
Even when you're scared. And if you are feeling anxious, he suggests breaking down those fears into specific parts.
Okay, so like what? Give me an example.
So he was talking to a student about studying abroad.
Okay.
And he helped them identify their anxieties, like cost, safety, the language barrier.
Right, because when you get specific, it's less overwhelming.
You can actually address those problems. And speaking of language, he actually shared his own experience with Japanguage.
Oh, right.
He said he's successful in debates, even though English wasn't his first language.
So what's the takeaway there?
It's about communicating your ideas clearly. That's what matters.
Not perfect grammar or pronunciation.
Exactly. It's about the substance of your message. And this is so important today. In a global world, you don't have to be perfect. Just focus on getting your point across.
That's a relief.
Right.
Now, what about financial risk?
Oh, yeah. This came up when I was talking about pursuing your dreams. He said parents often want to support their kids,
Of course.
but you got to try to minimize the burden on
Be
them.
responsible.
Right. And the big question to ask yourself is, will you regret it if you don't pursue your dream?
It's about avoiding that future regret.
Yeah. And even if things don't work out the way you planned, you'll learn from it.
And that experience is valuable.
Exactly. It's not life or death. Now moving on to leadership and communication.
Okay.
He had this really cool concept from Sunday's first year learning. He calls it envisioning, or bukso in Japanese.
Envisioning.
It's like creating a vivid picture in your mind of the future success, like for your team.
So not just setting a goal.
No, it's more than that. It's like making a movie in your head with details, time, place, even sensory experiences.
Wow.
And you really highlight the positive outcomes of overcoming those challenges.
Like painting a picture of success.
Exactly. And when you can share that vision with your team, it's powerful.
Everyone's on the same page.
Working towards the same goal, it creates this sense of camaraderie.
It's not just about following orders.
It's about shared purpose. And he's also really open about his own struggles with self-acceptance. He talked about having a stutter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and how he was teased for it as a kid.
That must have been tough.
It was, but he got some great advice from a teacher. Focus on communicating what you believe in.
Okay.
Don't worry about speaking perfectly.
It's about the message.
Yeah, your message is more important than your delivery.
So true. And he learned that even embarrassing moments,
They're not fatal.
we all have them.
And he talks about how important it is to focus on something bigger than yourself, like a goal you're working towards with a group
Okay.
that can help you overcome those past traumas, build courage.
It gives you something to focus on.
It's okay to acknowledge those negative feelings, but don't let them take over. And confidence, it comes gradually.
Through positive experiences.
And realizing you don't need everyone to like you.
That's a big one.
So important. And he actually believes that his stutter,
Yep.
it helped him become a public speaker
How so?
because he had to confront this huge challenge,
And overcome it.
and that built his strength.
So our weaknesses can become our strengths.
Exactly. You have unique qualities, even the things you might see as flaws.
They make you who you are.
And setbacks can lead to amazing things. Okay, let's talk about the Jangulia strategy now and the theme park business from that Teletokyo B Exi interview.
Okay, sounds good.
He emphasizes how important precise demand forecasting is for theme parks.
You mean like predicting how many visitors they'll get?
It's more than that. It's about getting really specific, like how much food to order, merchandise to stock,
So you could be efficient.
and profitable. He says this is one of Katana's strengths. Like, they're really good at it.
And that makes sense. You can't just be guessing with a business like that.
Too much money at stake. You need data. But he also acknowledges that predictions, they're not always perfect.
Right. Things change.
You got to constantly monitor and adjust, be flexible.
Adapt to the real world.
Now his vision for Jangulia in Okinawa, it's huge. He wants it to be a major tourist destination.
Like on the level of Chirami Aquarium.
Bigger. He's aiming for the highest revenue in all of Okinawa.
Wow. Ambitious.
And he wants to significantly boost the local economy.
Make a real impact.
But there are challenges, like the infrastructure in northern Okinawa isn't great.
Not enough hotels and stuff.
Yeah, but he's thinking long term. He believes the theme park will actually drive infrastructure development
So it'll create demand.
for transportation, hotels, shops.
A ripple effect.
Exactly. He sees it as a catalyst for regional economic growth, and he wants to help distribute tourism more evenly throughout Okinawa.
So not just concentrated in the south.
Right, it's about sustainable tourism for the whole region.
And he thinks Jangulia will be a tipping point.
Yeah, like it'll kickstart this wave of development, building on what's already there, but he's also realistic about the risks.
Like pandemics.
Yeah, anything that disrupts travel to Okinawa. And then there's the challenge of marketing Jangulia.
To a huge potential audience.
Millions of people in Asia within a short flight. And Katana, they don't have unlimited resources.
Every investment counts.
So they have to be strategic. But the long-term vision, it's incredible. He wants to create a network of Jangulia parks all over Asia,
Wow.
repurposing existing golf courses. Like, imagine a whole chain of these parks, rivaling Tokyo Disneyland.
That's thinking big.
But here's the key. He says the software.
The guest experience.
That's what makes or breaks the whole thing.
You can have the most amazing park.
But if people don't enjoy themselves,
They won't come back.
and they won't tell their friends. So it's all about creating those memorable experiences. Okay, let's talk about how to sell yourself. He had this great framework in Sunday's first ear learning.
Okay.
Who, what, how.
I like it. Simple but effective.
It's marketing 101, but applied to personal branding.
Smart.
So that's your target audience. Who are you trying to reach?
Okay. Makes sense.
The what is your value proposition? What benefits do you offer?
Your strengths. Your skills.
And why should someone buy what you're offering, whether that's hiring you, partnering with you, or just listening to your ideas?
What makes you stand out?
And don't just make claims, back them up with evidence.
Give examples.
If you're a great leader, talk about a time you led a team to success and share stories about overcoming challenges.
It shows your resilience.
And the how, that's your presentation, how you come across. Be trustworthy, be confident. But the most important thing is having that substance.
The what? Like if you're genuinely good at something.
It'll show. Okay, last topic. Overcoming that lack of self-confidence.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
So common, especially in Japan.
More than some other cultures.
But here's the thing. Confidence comes from action and experience.
So just start doing things.
Even if you're scared.
Even if you fail.
Because those experiences, they make you more resilient. You start to believe in yourself more.
You build that confidence muscle.
Exactly. Don't get stuck in that cycle of fear and indecision and focus on making a positive impact on others.
Helping people.
It's a great way to boost your confidence.
And your happiness.
And remember those things you see as weaknesses.
Yeah.
They can become strengths. They give you a unique perspective.
We've all got those.
And even huge setbacks, they can make you stronger.
Like that USG Okinawa project.
Getting canceled at the last minute, he said his heart made a balky sound.
Yeah.
Like breaking.
That's rough.
But he didn't give up. He started Katana and went after that dream again.
Persistence.
And that's what matters. Failure is just a stepping stone, as long as you don't quit and validate yourself internally.
What do you mean?
Don't rely on other people's opinions. Ask yourself, was it the right thing to do?
Be true to yourself.
And see your career as a journey of continuous learning and growth, not a destination.
It's about evolving.
Now for some final career advice.
All right, hit me.
He says a lot of people get discouraged because they see this gap between their ideal self and what they think they can actually achieve.
The comparison trap.
Yeah. Stop comparing yourself to others. Focus on your own strengths.
And use them.
He actually struggled early in his career. He was working at this consumer goods company, and his quantitative skills weren't being used.
He wasn't a good fit.
And he realized he had to play to his strengths. So he started using math to analyze consumer feedback.
And that's what he was good at.
Yeah, and it changed everything for him. So find an environment where your strengths are valued, because what might be a weakness in one context
could be a strength in another.
And he has this cool method for identifying your strengths. Think about what you enjoy doing.
Okay.
Write down like 50 to 100 verbs, like things you actually like to do.
Interesting.
Then categorize them. Thinking, communication, leadership. This shows you your natural talents and helps you pick a career path that fits.
So you're not trying to force yourself into a box that doesn't fit.
Exactly. And don't just focus on the company or the industry. Look at the actual work.
The tasks and responsibilities.
Does it align with your strengths?
Okay, so there are many right career paths.
Yeah. It's about finding the one that works for you and making it work. The only wrong choice is a job that completely clashes with your abilities.
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Now, last but not least, how he approaches information gathering and strategic thinking.
Okay.
He's very purpose-driven, always starts with the goal in mind. Like, what are you trying to achieve? Then you gather the information you need.
No distractions.
And he had this concept he called the center of gravity. It's about identifying the critical aspects of a problem.
The core issues.
Yeah. He said when he was at USJ, there were all these problems. Attendance, sponsorship, guest satisfaction, the facilities, staffing.
Overwhelming.
But he had to figure out what to focus on first. What was the most important thing?
Where to start.
And his approach to understanding what kind of content would attract visitors to USJ, it was really insightful. He didn't just look at what was popular.
He went deeper.
He studied the fans. Like, what were they passionate about? Why? He even spent a ton of time and money on mobile games.
Wow.
To understand what motivated the players.
Dedication.
He wanted to get into their heads, and he even apprenticed himself to fishermen.
Fishermen?
Yeah, at Nesta Resort Kobe. He wanted to understand that connection people have with nature.
Hands-on learning.
And it informed the attractions he developed. So he's all about direct experience, not just data.
Makes sense.
And his final advice for career success: know your strengths, choose the right environment, and then refine those strengths.
Keep getting better.
Focus on what you can control. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the mind of Takeshi Morioka,
A lot to think about.
a few key themes emerge: self-awareness, resilience, strategic thinking, and focusing on creating value for others.
Those are the pillars.
And what connects it all is this set of principles: deep self-awareness, continuous learning, a strategic approach to action, and understanding what makes people tick.
It's a formula for success.
And hopefully you listening to this, you've gotten some insights, some aha moments.
Things you can apply to your own life.
So as we go forward, ask yourself, what's one thing you thought was impossible that you might want to try now? How can you use Morioka's ideas to achieve your goals? And what's your center of gravity? What do you need to focus on right now? That's something to ponder from the deep dive.